Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Now, in a few videos here recently, I've spoken out more and more in my own tiny little way against what I think is embarrassing and deplorable actions by the President of the United States. And with each passing day, I become more and more embarrassed and horrified by what this person is saying, who's supposed to be the representative of the country that I love so much, the United States. Now, I also think that Congress should, and I think they do to some degree, not perfectly, represent the will of the people. And when Congress sees that the president is acting in a way that's not in line with his duties and his oath of office, it's their duty as congressional members and representatives of the people to use a phrase today, call them out on it. And the only way they can do that constitutionally is to bring about articles of impeachment against him. It also mystifies me, and I am dumbfounded by the fact that any member of Congress, whether they're a Republican or a Democrat, would not see the actions that this person is doing as completely unlawful, but yet also a disgrace to the United States as a whole. And I can't believe that members of Congress would not, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, would not see that by them not taking action against him are only limiting their own power in the future. Now, if a president defies Congress, by obstruction of justice and obstruction of Congress, by ordering his subordinates to not testify in when they're subpoenaed by Congress, it sets Congress up for failure in the future, where people like me could even thumb my nose at Congress and say, well, you have no power over me. But especially our leaders in the future will be able to do that more and more if they don't take care of this right now. But when Donald Trump acts the way that he does toward Congress, he's actually, I think, thumbing his nose against the will of the people. He was never elected by a majority. He acts like he won by a landslide. He won by an electoral landslide, but not by the popular vote. And when a leader acts like that, and it emboldens him even more when Congress doesn't stand up to what he's doing is wrong. Even to where yesterday, here's a man, supposedly the leader of the free world, attacks in an open forum via his Twitter feed a 16-year-old child,
Greta Thunberg,
who is, in her way, is doing a wonderful job to help bring awareness to the problems that we're doing to our environment. And how any Christian or any Republican can stand aside and say nothing against that behavior. I'm shocked. I really am shocked. Now, I also spoke in those videos how I relate that to what I see as the sword of cleavage. And I just put up a video with one of Benjamin Creme's master's articles talking about Christ as teacher. And I just happened to open this up, and I find it very auspicious that the page landed right on creating the sword of cleavage. And I started reading this, and I was like, how apropos this is to what is going on in Washington, D.C. and around the world today. Now, people love to quote the Bible and put it up on my YouTube page. Well, I mean, this is my YouTube page, so I can quote information that I have. Now, I wanted to read this because I wanted you to read it from what I think is going on in D.C. today. Now, it's entitled Creating the Sword of Cleavage, and it's on page 167 of A Master Speaks, Volume 2, published by Sharon National, and it's by Benjamin Creme's master. From time to time, there appears among men a figure who embodies the best or the worst that men can show. These individuals become the most loved or the most hated of men. In either case, they usually draw to themselves many followers or devotees. Such figures have enormous magnetic appeal for the majority of men, or, on occasion, are an inspiring example of destructive power on a large scale. The history books are full of examples of both types. Today, in large numbers, many examples of both types are manifesting worldwide. The effect of this manifestation is to set before humanity two opposing lines of action, and so create the tension of choice, which will determine the future of the race. In biblical terms, this is the, quote, sword of cleavage, unquote. For many years, the energies emanating from and directed by Maitreya have sought to create such confrontation of opposites. This may seem strange indeed to many people, but it is essential that humanity make the correct choices for its future. Otherwise, the future would be bleak indeed. The sword of cleavage is the energy we call love. Wielded by Maitreya, it sets, quote, brother against brother, unquote, and tests the true divine consciousness of men everywhere. The ultimate aim of all evolution is to establish on earth the kingdom of God, and the sword of cleavage shows men the way. The teaching of Maitreya is simple. One might think that his priorities would seem obvious to all men. Sadly, this is not the case. Maitreya presents a future of tranquility and peaceful endeavor as the inevitable result of sharing and justice for all. The creation of a world, quote, where no man lacks, where no 2 days are alike, where the joy of brotherhood manifests through all men, unquote. How is it possible, you might think, to gainsay such a message of hope? Is this not the future yearned for by everyone? It is the future hoped for by the majority of men, but not by all. Humanity stands on different rungs of the evolutionary ladder. Above a certain level, all bodes well for men. It is those who have not as yet manifested that measure of their divine self, who do not recognize that sharing is divine, that justice and right relationship are divine, but who see divinity as competition and conflict, and register a man's worth by the weight of his gold. Many are fearful and suffering. Bereft of work and hope for the future, they struggle from day to day. But many others are making their future for themselves, and many too are dying in the process. Throughout the world, men are awakening to the possibility of a better life with freedom and justice at its heart. Have no fear. The people's voice is rising, and like a contagion, affecting more and more. Maitreya stands behind those who live or die for the truth of freedom, justice, and the unity of man. The young lead the way, and the future is for them. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.